Good evening, good evening, good evening, everyone. Welcome to this evening's conversation from surviving to dreaming again, the journey back to you. I am Ericka Sallee, your host for this conversation for tonight, and I just want to welcome you into the space. So, for those of you who are coming in to join live, let me welcome you. And for those of you who come in later, to see the replay, I do ask that you hashtag replay. Let me know that you had an opportunity to come into the conversation, and I'd love to hear your feedback. And so, if this is your first time sitting in a conversation with me or seeing something that I've posted, let me just take a brief moment to introduce myself. As I said, I am Ericka Sallee. I am the owner of True Synergy. And, as a result of my personal coaching programs and my professional development opportunities, I do help my clients, women, and organizations to figure out what is it that stands in the way of your success. And once we figure that out, then I get super excited to offer the strategies to help you move beyond those barriers so that you can create the best version of yourself personally and professionally. And at the base of all of that, it is so very important for us to remember that taking care of ourselves is the foundation of any level of success that we desire for ourselves on either level, personally or professionally. So again, tonight's conversation is one that I am really excited to share with you. It is all about this concept, this idea, this conversation about going from a place of surviving to actually dreaming again, to thinking about something bigger for ourselves, getting ourselves back into the rhythm, that journey back to us. And so that is what the conversation is all about. And, this whole thought came to mind after having a discussion with some of my closest friends. Earlier this week, we're in a text thread, and we were just talking about how we may have gotten away from this idea of bold prayers or bold dreams. And one of my girlfriends stated that she knew for sure that she had stopped thinking about bigger things for herself, kind of got settled into the rhythm of how things are right now, and really didn't think much about, how she could make things better, even though these are conversations that we've had over and over and over in the past. And so when she said that, I started thinking about the fact that, have I actually stopped my own dreams? Have I literally allowed myself to step back from dreaming, thinking about what it is that I desire for myself? And as I'm having this conversation with you tonight, or whatever time you happen to see this may be good evening, good afternoon, good morning for you. But as I'm saying this to you right now, I'm looking at my whiteboard over here in my office, which has my dreams on it. And so, as I'm having the conversation with my girlfriend in the group text, I started to ask myself, have you stopped dreaming, or have you put a pause in a space that felt like it was a run on sentence, meaning that you were going after the things that are in your heart to do? And so, I wanted to come in tonight and share a few things because I'm of the mindset that we're not in a silo. And oftentimes, when one person is thinking or feeling something, even though it feels like you're the only one who might be thinking or feeling that thing, you're really not by yourself. And so, as I was having this conversation with my girlfriends, as I was having this conversation within my own space, I started saying to myself, how many other people out there are feeling like, oh, have I allowed my dreams to kind of be put on the back burner? Or here's the other part: have I even given myself the opportunity to dream? And so, what I want you to do is, I want you to type it in the comments and let me know whether or not you can attest to the fact that you, over the course of time, it could be the course of today, the course of last week, last month, the last few months, maybe the last year, even before that, if you have allowed your dreams to either have a thought and you've taken action, or you have just not allowed yourself to dream at all, right? And you have, let me go back. You've either had that thought, maybe you took some action, and there's something that has caused you to stop. Number one. Or number two, maybe you haven't even given yourself the opportunity to think about, well, what does dreaming look like for me? Okay. So I want to share a few things because there's a perspective that I want us to understand first and foremost. So I'm going to share three things with you right now. And the first two are really the things that kind of put this whole conversation into some context. And so the first thing that I want to share with you is that there's this idea, right? That the silent fade of a dream is what is present right now. And you might be saying, okay, well, what does that actually mean? The silent fade of a dream. Well, at the end of the day, what this really means is that life's responsibilities, heartbreak, transition, burnout, chaos, are the things that come to the forefront that can create your dreams to fade or make your dreams fade, because we're so busy thinking about all of the things that are happening that are vying for our attention, that are taking our energy and our thoughts away from either continuing on to pursue our dreams or to unpack what the dreams may look like for us. And so these are the things that can cause our dreams to fade away slowly. And sometimes they're fading away and we don't even realize it, right? So let's think of it this way. Many of us know what is happening right now all around us, in our country, around the world. And everything that is happening right now has caused this elevated level of chaos and exhaustion and frustration and fear. Okay. So that's in this bucket right here. But before all of this, I'm sure that you, like me, had many things that you were trying to figure out. You probably had family related concerns. Maybe you were dealing with things at your job or with your business, or just the run of the mill everyday stuff that we deal with as human beings, like managing life. And that alone can be stressful, just because we're trying to analyze, we're trying to figure out, we're trying to work things out. And sometimes those things can feel overbearing just because that's the normal course of life. So there's that over here. So couple all of those things with all of the stuff that's happening right now and bring it together, and it's like this perfect storm of stuff that, because it's right here, clear and present for us, that the silent fade of a dream becomes, oh, yep, it's right here at the forefront. Like, I can't think about my dreams because I'm thinking about all the other stuff over here. I'm thinking about what's going to happen, what's going on, what's the next thing to come out. And so because we get consumed with that, then we don't have the opportunity to think about what dreaming is. We don't have the opportunity to think about, what do my goals look like? What is it that I want to pursue for myself? So it becomes like this haze. And if we're not careful, that silent fade kind of creeps in. And before you know it, it's just like, okay, where'd it go? So here's an example. Let's say, for instance, you're a person who's very clear on what your dream is or was. And maybe you put in some effort toward that dream. You decided, I'm going to do this 5 days a week. Okay. Put in some effort, going after it, making the phone calls, doing the things I need to do. When this silent fade comes in, what happens is that 5 days may dwindle down to 3. Before you know it, there's stuff going on. And then it's like, okay, that 3 days dwindles down to 1 day. And then the 1 day turns into, oh my gosh, I haven't even focused on my dream in a whole week. It's been 2 weeks. So the silent fade of that dream is coming in because other things are permeating the space that would otherwise allow you to move forward to pursue. That's how it might show up. Okay. And the reality of it is, we don't actually stop dreaming. It's just that the other things that are happening around us begin to speak louder in the space and the dream becomes quieter. Okay. So that's number one, the silent fade of a dream. And before I move on to number two, here's the thing. Many of you who are watching can probably attest to the fact that, oh yeah, you know what, there have been times, because that's why I had to ask myself the question when I was talking to my girlfriends, going back to the beginning of this conversation. And I was like, okay, with everything that's happening right now, it's very, very easy to see how the focus on fear and anxiety and chaos and toxicity and all the things that are going wrong and all of the stuff, we get so concerned about those things, and we should be concerned, don't get me wrong. But the moment that we begin to focus so much on all of the stuff, we don't have space, we don't have capacity, mental, physical, spiritual energy to focus on the dream. And that's where that silent fade, it's almost like the thing that's coming to mind for me right now is when you see in movies, you kind of see characters off in a distance and you see this haze and you can't really make out what the characters or who the people are, but you know there's a figure there, but this silent haze is like hanging over and you can't really see who it is. That's what this kind of likens to. The silent fade of the dream is like, I know it's there, or maybe at one time I thought about it, but all this stuff kind of presents this cloudiness that prevents me from being able to not only see what the dream is, but to give attention to it. So that's number one. Number two, and this kind of leads into this silent haze, the analogy that I'm using. Number two is a hope isn't really lost. It's just a little clouded. Okay. Um, and here is the moment where we get disillusioned with self-doubt, when we think about how hope just really feels so very distant. It's like at one point, maybe I believed, at one point, maybe I thought, but because of all the things, it's like way, way, way out there, almost as if it is unreachable, right? So, in the back of your mind, you may be thinking there is something, there is a desire, there is a thought, it's still there, but it's clouded by the other things. And the strategy is to make us so consumed with the fear and the confusion and to exhaust us that there's no possible way that we can think about something else that's bigger, something else that's better. And here's what I want you to know. There is something connected to each and every one of us. There is something that you and I were born with that is uniquely a part of our blueprint. That when we show up with that thing, that people are changed, lives are changed. There's a newness and a freshness that we bring into the spaces that we occupy. We operate in a place of purpose and gift. And that purpose and gift is intended to empower others, to show others a better way, to give others a better strategy, to help others walk in a newness. And so just imagine that if we are consumed by the fear and the cloudiness of all the things, all the weighty stuff, then we don't have the opportunity to show up in the spaces to empower. So there is a strategy behind putting this fear and this confusion in spaces where we get to consume it so much that the hope is clouded by all of that. And so when we focus more on that, of course, there's a moment where we say, "Oh my gosh, can I really do that? Can I really operate in a space? Can I make something happen?" Especially in times like this. Okay, so hope isn't really lost. It's just that there's so much that's hanging over top of it. I thought about this earlier, and I said, here's the opportunity for hope to sit here. And in this example, number two, where hope, right, isn't lost, it's still here, but it's clouded. So just think about all the other stuff: your bills, your business, your health, your family, your kids, all the things you have to do, all the places you have to be, all the things you have to figure out. And then there's all the stuff that's happening right now within our country. And so that really is a hovering over the hope that's right here. And so it becomes like this. So hope is still here, but there's this thing, this stuff, this bag of just stuff. Let me say it that way, that is hovering over the hope. So you still see it, but it gets clouded. Okay. And so hopefully you can understand the analogy, and you can probably feel it, because we're all walking in this space that feels very clouded. Um, so the reality is that hope still lives in you. It still lives in me. There is still this opportunity for us to move forward into a space of excitement, of joy, of possibility. And I know it's hard to see because of the cloudedness hanging over top of the hope. And sometimes we just need some help for us to kind of dust off the stuff, the cloudiness that's keeping us from recognizing hope in the midst of all, so that we can begin to dream, right? Dream again, or start to dream at all. So that brings me to number three. And before I get into number three, I wanted to kind of paint number one and number two, because it's the reality. It's the, this is where we are right now kind of thought. This is what's happening. Many of us are trying to figure out, how do I navigate? How do I move forward? What do I do? How do I make something happen in the midst of a space where it feels like nothing is happening, or things that I thought were going to happen are now being pulled away? So the first two of these points is to kind of get present to the real, right? That is the reality of where we are right now. Number three is the one that I like the most, because it helps to navigate through this idea of, okay, there is no hope, there is no dream, there is no possibility. But if we rethink what we might be processing in our head about where our dreams have gone, are they stagnant? Are we sitting still? Are we able to move? Should I stay still? Should I do this? Should I do that? There is something that can shift us from those questions and those doubts and those fears that come along with this cloudiness that hovers over the hope. And this is where we go to number three. And that is, clarity is the catalyst. I'm going to let you sit with that for just a moment. Clarity is the catalyst. See, this one right here is the game changer. This point here is the thing that creates the shift. Okay. So let's just think about it. The silent fade of a dream is a result of chaos, confusion, fear, frustration, anger. Recognizing that hope isn't lost, it's just clouded because of all of those things. And so when we understand that, we can kind of move beyond it and say, but there is a hope that allows us to dream again, that allows us to get present and get back to us, get back to what's passionate, get back to what we desire, get back to what we believe, or get to a place where we start to think, oh, let me step into a new realm of possibility. Okay. So let me talk about this clarity being the catalyst. And here's the reason why. It's because once we get clear, number one, about who we are, about what we're capable of, about what's meaningful to us, once we get clear on those things, then that's when things begin to shift. That's when things begin to open up, so that we can kind of recognize, okay, there's all this stuff that's going on, But in the midst of all the stuff, wait, let me think about, okay, who am I? What is important to me? What gifts do I have? What skills do I have? How can I look at myself and know that I wasn't just created just to be created, just to walk around in a daze. I was created. Remember, I used that word blueprint. There's something special that you and I have been given. So clarity being the catalyst is a reminder of those things so that we can begin to shift not just the narrative about, oh my gosh, can I dream again? Can I hope again? Are things possible? But when we do that, guess what? And I want to be really clear, there are things that begin to resurface. When we begin to sit down and say, wait a minute, let me think about, what do I bring to the table? What are the things that bring me joy? What are the things that people are coming to me for? What are the things that I know that I'm good at? See, all of those things, when we start to unpack that, and whether that unpacking is you journaling it, say that 10 times fast, or whether you're having a conversation with someone just to kind of start to unlock some of the things that feel like you're stuck in. When we start to get clear on that, there's a whole new level of opportunity that opens up. So you might be saying to yourself, okay, so if clarity is the catalyst, then how do I get clear, especially when there's so many things that would otherwise keep us in this fog, keep us in the cloud. And I'm not talking about pictures and videos because, everything's in the cloud these days. But so how do you do that? So number one, I just said, take some time to journal. Take some time to sit down and say, okay, let me think about this. If I were to think about who I am, what I bring to the table, what I have, what I can do, what I'm passionate about, if I just take some time to think about those things, it is a reminder, right? That is a clear and present representation of who you are, right? So that's the first step to clarity being the catalyst. And sometimes when you start to then unpack that through your journaling, or maybe, you pick up your phone and you go to the memo section. I think every phone, whether it's an Android or an Apple phone, has a memo section. You can record it, like say to yourself, okay, who am I? What do I bring to the table? How, what experience do I have? Like all the things those are the triggers that say, oh, wait a minute, you know what? I'm pretty darn dope. That's clarity, because it's repositioning your mindset about who you are. So that's number one. Number two, sometimes the catalyst or the clarity comes when you get in spaces with other people and you get to share new knowledge, information, you get to collaborate, you get to connect. Those are spaces that can bring about clarity. And when you do that, you are in a space with like-minded people, you're in a space with new people, you're learning new things, you're being exposed to perhaps new ideas, new concepts, new ways of thinking, perhaps, about the dreams that you had before. And maybe it gives you the opportunity to say, oh, wait a minute, maybe here's a shift that I can make, or here's a tweak that I can make, or here's something that I can do differently. Because, and especially now, when we're thinking about, well, how do I get back to me? How do I begin to dream again? For many of us, we are now rethinking how to apply, number one, the things that we already know, so that we can do it in a different way, right? To adapt to where we are right now. And many of us are learning new things so that we can adopt perhaps new practices or new ways, or incorporate those things into what we may have already been doing. So when you come into community with other people that you can collaborate with, that's another opportunity where you get clarity, right? And that shared energy, that shared space is a catalyst to kind of put a little fire behind you. I will stop and say this. I am actually in a program. I'm super excited about this program with Dr. Avis DeWeaver. And we have these co-working sessions that we do every week. And on this week in particular, in the co-working session, I was kind of talking through some things with Dr. Avis and the group. And there was just this shift that happened for me based on that hot seat coaching opportunity. And so when I say clarity is the catalyst, and being in space and being in community where you're learning, where you're growing, where you're kind of assessing where you are right now or assessing what you're doing right now, and then you get to learn, well, maybe I need to do it differently, or here's a better way to do it. That's when the clarity begins to come. That's when you start to have some freshness, and that light bulb goes off and you're like, oh, wait a minute. And it was the catalyst to some actions that I was able to take over the course of this week. So that's what that looks like. Okay. So that's one other way to open up the space in your mind, open up the space, physically, mentally, emotionally, so that you can receive new information that brings about that clarity, so that you can then move in the direction to pursue whatever that is for you. Dreams, goals, what you can fill in the blank to whatever makes sense. So when I say, dreaming again, you might say reach my goals again, or pursue my goals again. So whatever way you want to classify it, do make it make sense for you. So here's the thing, and I'm going to wrap up in just a few moments. So when you do get to this point where you get a little bit more clarity, it creates this level of boldness, because you're like, oh, wait, now I know who I am. I know what I bring to the table. I know what I have, or I know where I might need to grow. And so in those spaces, I'm going to connect in community. I'm going to connect with like minds. I'm going to leave myself open to learn and to grow and to apply, because it doesn't make sense to learn and to grow, get the knowledge, and don't use it wisely. Okay. That's probably a conversation for another day. But when that happens, there's a shift that starts. Okay. So I gave you two ideas about how to apply this clarity as the catalyst. One, journaling, I did it again, journaling it out as a reminder to yourself. Two, connecting in community. And the last thing that I will say when it comes to clarity, and this is probably one that is not the easiest, but it is an opportunity to bring about a clearer mind, and that is to sit still. Sometimes we have to sit with things, to be still, to block out some of the noise, so that we can get to a space where we can hear, or we can start to think, right? And sometimes sitting still isn't always easy, because the moment we hear something or the moment we connect, we always want to go and move. And while I do believe that we should be actionable, or we should be in action, I also recognize that there is this sweet spot between the action and being still. And so what I would say, if I flip it around, is maybe the being still part comes and then you take the action. Okay. Because if you're still enough, you get clear, then you're like, okay, I know what I'm supposed to do. Then there are times when you may take some action, you get a little bit more information, you do a little bit, and then you have to sit and say, okay, now I've done this. Now what's the next? So those are three ways that clarity can be the catalyst. I'm going to repeat them again in case you missed it. And then we're going to wrap up. So clarity being the catalyst, meaning that when you get clear, when you get focused, then you can move. It is the thing that propels you into doing next, propels you into pursuing those dreams and those goals, and gets you closer to who it is that you want to be and how you want to show up. So number one, you can journal, reminding yourself about who you are, what you bring to the table, what's meaningful to you, what it is that you desire, what you want, what makes you good, what makes you feel good when you show up in a certain way, writing all of those things down. That's number one. Number two is getting in community to learn, to grow, to share, to bring about, bring your thoughts of, I'm not sure about how to do this, or how should I approach this? And then you get ideas and you learn different strategies and different ways to go about things. That's number two. Number three is to sit still. To sit still, and I said this and I want to repeat this, is blocking out the noise. Sometimes the clarity comes when we're not connected to social media. Sometimes the clarity comes when we're not watching the news. Ooh, Sometimes the clarity comes when we're not picking up the phone or responding to text messages, and all of these things are permeating every aspect of our lives. I know because I'm on social media too. And sometimes I have to remind myself, okay, you've been on here for X amount of time. You need to put it down because you need to move and get clear on some things. So, sitting still and blocking out some of those things that can otherwise create the confusion, the chaos, the frustration, the anger, the fear, all the emotional stuff that comes along with where we are right now. Those are things that can be your moments and opportunities to gain clarity so that you can use that clarity to then move. Okay. So there you have it. Let me go and check the comments before I wrap up. Hey, Jaquista, good to see you on live. Hope you are doing well. So thank you so much for joining the conversation. Feel free to drop another comment before we wrap up for tonight. I appreciate you for being here. So here's the thing. There's a lot to unpack, a lot to unpack. And I want to make sure that I give you some opportunity to think about what this means for you. So if any of this has resonated with you, I want to share a couple of things for you to consider. Like if you're saying to yourself, I'm just tired of focusing on the chaos. I'm tired of having my thoughts and my dreams and my ideas watered down because there's so much stuff going on. Like I'm literally exhausted from all the things coming at my way. And I'm kind of mad that some of this stuff is taking me away from meaningful things for myself. And if you're ready to move into a place of clarity, if you're ready to move into a place where you feel like, okay, there's a confidence that I want to operate in. And when I operate in that confidence, then I can move into some purposeful spaces that mean something to me and eventually mean something to other people. So there's a couple things. I will say this. I am very grateful. I have gotten lots of comments and feedback on my Amazon #1 bestseller. Sometimes I don't even mention that, but Amazon #1 bestseller, I'm Here, Now What? Finding Joy After the Storm. And it's really symbolic of where we are right now. It is about my journey moving through divorce and all the stuff that comes along with that, and getting to a place that I could say I found joy. But the rocky places don't feel so comfortable, i.e., where we are now. And so I am in the process of creating something very special that is based on not just based on the book and this idea of divorce, but it is based on how do you move through transition and how do you get to the other side of it so that you are in a place that is joyful, purposeful, happy, fulfilling. So if you are interested in that, what I would say to you is to be on the lookout, because I will be rolling out this new exciting opportunity. It is called From the Pages to Your Power. It is a book circle that I'm really excited to share, because I think we're in a time right now where we're trying to figure out, how do I find my power, especially in a time where we feel like so much of our power, the effort is to strip some of it away. So we dwindle down to nothing, but there's so much inside of us that when we think about our power, it should give us a boldness to stand in it. So From the Pages to the Power book circle, if you're interested in learning more about that, as information is coming out now, and we will be launching on June the 16th, then I do encourage you to either comment circle, or you can DM me circle. Okay. So if you're interested in that and you want to kind of be in the know as information is coming out, then I do encourage you to do that. That will be a 6 session opportunity. Okay. So there is a limited time frame on that. But you might be saying to yourself, okay, June the 16th is a little ways away. I might need a little something now because I'm trying to manage a lot. I'm trying to figure out a lot. So there is another opportunity that I will share with you. And that opportunity is the Clarity and Focus Experience. This is my ongoing membership program where you get to come into space twice a month. There are specific themes every month. There is personal development work for the month. And so that is a more consistent way to just find your space so that you are in a rhythm of, okay, this might be going on around me, but yep, I'm going to still dream and I'm going to still pursue and I'm going to still go after the things that are meaningful. I'm going to be connected to who I need to be, right? To find that space so that I can operate in the fullness of who I am. And so if you are interested in that opportunity, then I do encourage you to either comment or DM me the word focus so that I can get you information about that. So I wanted to share that. And again, if you're interested in the book circle, then yes, do type circle in the comments or you can DM me. If you know that, okay, book circle starts in a couple months and right now I'm in a place where I need to be connected in community, then the opportunity is there for that as well. So you can comment or DM the word focus because then I can give you information on the Clarity and Focus experience. So on that note, let me say this. Oh, and there's one other thing I want to mention. It's important to me to make sure you have whatever opportunity works for you. So this Saturday, I believe it's the 26th. This month is flying by, but whatever Saturday's date is, you can join me for Coffee and Clarity. That is a space that is a virtual space. You get to come in. We come into the space to share what we're thinking, how we're feeling, how our week is gone, how we're managing and processing all the stuff that's going on around us. We empower one another, and then we decide, okay, what actions are we going to take next? So that is a right around the corner kind of thing. So if you're interested in that, you can also DM me or comment on that as well. So lots of different opportunities for you to find the thing that is meaningful for you. But I definitely do encourage you to stay connected here in this space. You can also find me on Instagram and Facebook at True Synergy LLC to stay connected and get what it is that you need for you in this time and space that we're in. So I'm going to check the comments again. So finding you tonight was no accident. Ooh, this is my life as we speak. My therapist told me to remember who I am. And for the first time in a long time, I don't have an answer for that. And I celebrate you, number one, for your authenticity. I celebrate you, number two, for finding the space that you need to be connected with who you are. You might not know the answer to that now, but it is my sincere hope that you find that answer because it's in there. And what I will say, I'm glad you made that comment, is that I think we're all in a place where there are some questions. Not only who I am, but what can I do? And, I used to do it this way and I was reliant on this, and now I don't feel so secure anymore. The reality of it is many of us were probably asking some of those questions and dealing with some of those challenges before the present time that we're in. And now that we are here, it has been exacerbated, right? Intensified. And what I will say is, number one, you are not alone because we're all trying to figure out something. And on the journey to self-discovery, sometimes not knowing is okay because it gives us hopefully a desire to keep pursuing who you are, whose you are, what you bring to the table, that you are unique and everything about you is special. And I say that because I know that to be true. Um, we've had the pleasure of working together. And so all of the things that make you who you are, they're in there. So keep doing the work. And if there is something that I can support you in, then I do encourage you. You know how to find me. But I will say you can reach me at TrueSynergy at Comcast.net, TruSynergy. And we can always have a conversation about it. So, with that being said, I'm wishing you the best on your journey. Here to support you if you need. And it's not just in the conversation that I'm having right now with Jaquista, but if there is anyone else who is feeling like, I'm not really sure, I don't know, I'm going to drop it in the comments or somewhere. I'm going to drop it. How to connect, right? There's a couple different ways that you can do that. You can reach out to me directly, email. You can also reach me on my website, which is truesynergy.org, and I will share that as well. And there is a contact tab at the top. So if you want to reach out that way, that is another way that you can find me as well. And so with that being said, I hope I spelled my own website correctly because I was trying to type quickly so that I can give you back your evening time because I know that it's getting late. And I respect and honor the fact that people have other things going on. So with that being said, truesynergy.org or truesynergy at Comcast.net is a way to reach out. And, one of the things that I love to do is to have a complimentary discovery session, just to hear you, to understand who you are, what your challenges are, and how what support is available. So there you have it. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for sharing on tonight. I look forward to seeing you all again real soon. But until I do, I want you to take care of yourselves and yes, be well.